Chapter 4. The River's Test. The river was no gentle stream that night. It roared beneath Aaron's fragile boat, dark water rising and falling like the chest of some vast sleeping beast. The lantern's flame flickered at the bow, its glow, the only star in the endless black. The festival's music faded behind him until there was only silence, broken by the river's restless voice. Aaron's arms ached as he paddled, the cold biting through his thin clothes. Yet he did not stop. "Father," he whispered, "I'll guide you home." But the river had its own trials. A sudden gust of wind bent the flame dangerously low. Aaron shielded it with his hands, his breath trembling. The boat lurched as the current carried him toward a cluster of jagged rocks. He fought the paddle, wood scraping wood, sparks of pain shooting through his arms. The lantern's light wavered dim for a heartbeat. Fear struck him. If the flame died, his father would never find the way. "Please," Aaron begged, clutching the lantern as though it were his very heart. "Stay with me." And somehow, it did. The flame straightened, steady once more, casting its glow upon the churning river. Exhausted, Aaron closed his eyes for a moment, the boat drifting onward. He dreamt of his father's laugh, of warm hands lifting him high, beneath the old oak tree, of a voice saying, "Be strong, Aaron, the world tests us, but we endure." When his eyes opened again, he was no longer alone. On the mist above the river's surface, shadows seemed to stir. Shapes, tall, silent, and shimmering like smoke, watched him pass. Their faces were hidden, but their presence pressed heavy on his heart. Lost souls, the ones the lanterns were meant to guide. Aaron gripped his paddle tighter, fear and wonder warring inside him. The lantern's light drew the shadows closer, and for a moment he thought he saw a hand reaching from the mist, almost familiar. "Father," his voice cracked. The shadow did not answer. It only drifted with the current, keeping pace, waiting. Aaron's journey had only begun. Chapter 5. The Shadow in the Mist. The river grew quieter as the night deepened. The festival lights were gone, swallowed by distance, and only the lantern's glow remained, painting a small circle of gold on the black water. Aaron's eyes burned with fatigue, but he dared not close them. Around him the mist thickened, curling, shifting, breathing like something alive. Every ripple in the water sounded louder. Every creak of the boat echoed in his chest. Then he saw it. Among the drifting shapes of the lost souls, one figure stood, apart. It was taller, more solid, its form sharper against the fog. Where the others flickered like smoke, this one burned faintly, like embers hidden in ash. Aaron's heart leapt. The figure's shoulders, the tilt of its head, even the way it seemed to watch him, it was familiar, too familiar. "Father?" His voice was little more than a breath. The shadow stepped closer across the mist, though it made no sound. Its face remained blurred, but Aaron felt its gaze pierce him, gentle, yet unbearably heavy. His chest ached, as though all his longing and grief had been pulled to the surface. The lantern at the bow glowed brighter, as if it too recognized the figure. Aaron's hands trembled on the paddle. Part of him wanted to leap into the water, to embrace the shadow and never let go. But another part whispered fear. What if it wasn't his father? What if the river was playing tricks, leading him astray? The figure lifted an arm. Slowly, deliberately. It pointed, not at Aaron, not at the boat, but toward the dark horizon upstream. "Guide your father home." His mother's words echoed in his mind. Aaron's breath caught. The shadow wasn't calling him closer. It was showing him the way. The lantern's flame flared brighter than before, and the mist around the figure began to scatter. For a moment, Aaron thought he saw eyes, warm, kind, filled with sorrow and pride. And then the shadow was gone. Only the river remained, carrying him forward into the unknown. Aaron tightened his grip on the paddle. His fear had not vanished, but something else had taken root inside him, hope. Chapter 6. The Trial of the Rapids. The river, calm only moments before, began to roar like a wild beast. Aaron gripped the paddle tighter as the current dragged the small boat forward. The mist thickened, swallowing the moonlight, until only the faint glow of the lantern lit his way. The water surged. Waves rose high on either side, crashing against the boat. The wooden frame groaned, threatening to split apart. "Hold on," Aaron whispered, though there was no one to hear him but the river. The lantern flickered. His heart clenched. If the flame died, the journey would be over. His father's spirit would be lost forever. The boat spun sideways, slammed against a hidden rock. Aaron was thrown to his knees. His hands burned as he tried to steady himself with the paddle. The icy spray lashed his face, stealing his breath. "Father, give me strength," he shouted into the storm of water. Suddenly, as if answering his cry, the clouds parted for an instant. A single shaft of moonlight pierced the mist, striking the lantern at the bow. The flame glowed brighter, steadier. Aaron's eyes widened. He remembered his father's words, spoken long ago on a quiet evening by the oak tree. "When the storm comes, don't fight it. Flow with it. Let the river carry you, not drown you." With trembling breath, Aaron loosened his grip. He no longer forced the paddle against the raging water. Instead, he guided it gently, letting the current decide the path. The boat, still battered, began to steady. It no longer fought the river. It moved with it. The rapids thundered on, but Aaron's fear gave way to something else. Resolve. He realized this trial was not about defeating the river. It was about trust, about courage, about surrendering fear, without surrendering hope. Minutes or perhaps hours later, the rapids eased. The boat drifted into calmer waters. Aaron's arms ached. His breath came in ragged gasps. But the lantern still burned. Unbroken, unyielding. Aaron looked at it, tears streaming down his cheeks. "You're still with me," he whispered. Ahead, the river wound deeper into the shadows of the mountain. The true test was not over, but Aaron had crossed the rapids, and with it, he had crossed his first trial. The flame was alive, and so was his hope. Chapter 7. The Spirit of the Mountain. The river bent sharply, and the mountains rose higher, their dark silhouettes like guardians against the night sky. Aaron's boat drifted into a quiet stretch of water where mist curled low over the surface, thick as smoke. The silence was heavy, too heavy. No birds, no crickets, only the faint ripple of the current. The lantern flickered softly, casting golden ripples across the water. Aaron held it close, whispering, "Guide me, don't leave me now." Then he heard it. A low voice, ancient and deep, carried through the mist. "Child, why do you wander here?" Aaron's blood froze. He turned, but there was no one in the boat, no one on the shore. The mist swirled, and from it rose a figure, tall, cloaked in shadow, its eyes glowing faintly like embers. "The mountain," Aaron breathed. He knew at once. This was no man. This was the spirit of Isharan, the guardian of the river and the land. The figure's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "Many come with prayers. Few dare to cross my waters. Why do you risk your life, boy?" Aaron swallowed hard, but his voice did not tremble. "To find my father. His spirit is lost. I must guide him home." The spirit's gaze lowered to the lantern. The flame wavered under its power, but did not die. Do you think a single light can pierce the darkness of death? Aaron's hands tightened on the lantern. Yes, he said firmly, because it is not just fire, it is love, and love does not die. The spirit was silent. The mist thickened, then parted as though the mountain itself sighed. At last the voice spoke again. You carry courage, and something greater. Perhaps even I cannot extinguish it. The figure raised a hand, and the river stirred. From the water rose shapes, phantoms of lost souls drifting like pale shadows. They swirled around the boat, whispering in voices too faint to understand. Aaron's heart pounded, but he held the lantern higher. The flame glowed fiercely, and for a moment, the shadows drew back as though warmed by it. The spirit's voice echoed, "Go on, child of the oak. Your path is perilous, but the flame will guide you, if you do not falter." The figure dissolved into mist, leaving only silence once more. Aaron sat in the boat, breathless, his chest heavy but burning with determination. The river flowed onward, carrying him deeper into the mountain's heart. And in his lantern's glow the boy saw not fear but the reflection of his father's smile.